Right, you join me in session at the awesome Linear Fisheries. I'm on Manor Farm Lake. I arrived here first thing this morning. Had a look round the other DayTicket lakes, all extremely busy. It's kids' half term now, so all the dads and lads are out having a go. Managed to slip in a peg on Manor, peg 19 in the car park, which is a peg that I fished before. And found a spot that I also know quite well. Give them some bait, and I mean, I've really given them some bait this morning. I absolutely love it on Manor. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get the most out of a bucket of bait, how to keep the fish in your swim, and hopefully how to build a bit of a hit of fish. But this is the starting one. Nice little mirror, sort of 12, 14 pound, and hopefully his big brother's going to come out to play. Very far out now, just keeping the rod nice and low, just coaxing him along. There is a little bit of weed in the margin, but it might work to my advantage if he gets his head covered, because it'll mean he'll just pop up in front of the net, as you can see there. Boatload of weed, and I'm hoping somewhere in that lot is a carp. I'll net the whole lot anyway, we'll soon see what happens. It's looking ominous. Well, I've netted everything that's there. All I can do now is hope that there's a fish on. I think there is. There's certainly something in the net. Right, let's have a peel this back. Yeah, there's a carp in there. Well, it would appear that the fish have got on the bait, and they've got on it pretty quickly as well. No sooner I put that first one back, the rod ripped off almost instantly after, resulting in this, another hard fight in Manor mirror. Yeah, I think following on from this, I'm going to slip this one back, and I'm going to run you through the bait that I'm using, and just show as well that, you know, the lads at Monster Particles, they produce top quality bait at extremely affordable prices. So when you're coming down to a place like Linear, you know, and you are going to be looking to be putting quite a lot of bait in, if the fish do get on it, you haven't got to break the bank account to put a hit of fish on the bank. So yeah, I'm going to slip this one back, and we're going to run through the bait that I'm using and the mix that I'm using on this particular session. Well, it's having it now. Another bite, literally been 20-25 minutes of chucking the rod back out, and it's ripped off again. They're clearly on it. So what I'm going to do is probably, whatever happens with this fish, whether I get it in or what have you, I'm going to re-chuck, cook myself a little bit of breakfast. If I haven't had nothing within the hour, I'm going to give them another whole bucket of bait. Now, a whole bucket of bait is probably about 10 kilo, which sounds a lot of bait, but it isn't really that much. And as I've already sort of pointed out, it isn't an expensive bucket of bait. I've got my boilies in there, maize, hemp, with a bit of peanut in there as well, a bit of crushed peanut. So I'm going to get this one in. I was going to show you the bait after I put the last one back, but it seems to be quite hectic. I'm going to hopefully get this one in, rod back out there, and I'm going to show you the bait that I'm putting out, and also what's in it as well, and why I think it works. But for now, I'm going to concentrate on getting this one in, because you just don't know what you're going to hook into in Manor. You could catch couple of doubles, like what I've already had, which is a perfect start to the session, or it could rip off and the next one could be probably one of the best looking linears in the country, or in fact one of the best looking carp in the country, one called Kempis Linear, which is a 40 pounder. So play everyone like it's the last one you'll ever catch, and hopefully there'll be another fish to show you.
That's good.
Proper fighting. Right, I've got a bit of weed caught around the leg clip or up the line, and the fish is somewhere behind it, but the lead's ejected, which will make life a little bit easier. Obviously being in the water does as well. Something's gone in the net. If the fish come off or not, I don't know. But there's a fish in there. Oh, he's quite heavy. £30, 2. Oh yes, a 30. What an awesome result. And that is the third one of the morning so far. 2 doubles, and it looks like the big uns are finally having a little go. Let's have a look at him. How about that then? A Manor Farm unit, just over £30. The biggest of 3 fish this morning, come in real quick succession. I put a fair bit of bait out when I got here, probably 3/4 of a bucket of bait, which seems a lot, but in a minute I'm going to show you that it's really not going to cost you the earth to knock together a big bucket of bait. This is the biggest obviously of the trio, just over £30 as I've already mentioned. So I'm going to slip this one back and I'm going to show you what bait I'm using and also how I'm putting the bait out and how I'm applying it. So absolutely awesome, what a great start. £30 Manor Farm mirror. A question that I get asked a lot is how much bait do I take on a session? Now the simple answer to that is I take enough that if I run out I would have had a good session. So basically I take quite a lot with me. This is the spod mix that I'm using now. As you can see laid out in front of me is the main ingredients that I'll use. First things first, maize. It's a proven winnow, works in England, works all the way across the world, and the boys at Monster are always doing mega deals on maize, and you can get a 5 kilo bag, chuck it in your freezer, and when you go fishing, you know, it isn't going to take up loads of room in your freezer, and it's a 5 kilo bag and it's absolutely dirt cheap. Next off, you got hemp, just plain old hemp seed. Again, proven winner, adding it into your spod mix, keeps the fish rooting around for ages, keeps them coming back for more. And again, comes in a nice sealed 5 kilo bag. You can stack them in your freezer, bring them with you. If you don't use them, take them back home, put them back in the freezer, and they're good to go for next time. This one here, hemp and chopped peanut. Now I specifically asked for this to be made, and I've caught a lot of fish on sort of nuts over the years, and chopped peanut is always a firm favourite of mine, and it works anywhere I've taken it. And in particular, I found it works really well on lakes where there's a lot of bream and tench. And what I mean by works is it avoids catching them. For some reason, nuisance species such as bream and tench, they just do not like nuts and they shy away from them. So if you're fishing a lake that's dominated by tench and bream, by adding sort of like chopped peanut, chopped tigers, hemp and peanut, I have found personally that it will keep them away. Added to that, a good quality, decent boilie. This is krill here, finished off with a nice liquid. Now this is the mix that I'm using. As you'll see, quite a lot of maize in there, quite a lot of boilie, and the rest of it just made up with hemp and peanut. This mix here is extremely simple, but it serves a purpose. It does exactly what I want it to do. The bits of boilie go down, keep the fish coming back for more. The maize attracts the fish into the swim. The nuts are there because the carp absolutely love the crunch, and I'm convinced that the crunching sound travels underwater and draws more fish to the peg. And the hemp keeps them rooting around for ages. And as well, you'll notice it's hydrated. I filled it right up with water. So basically what that's doing is it's keeping all the particles in the mix hydrated. So when you're spodding out, every bit of particle in there is sinking, because what I see a lot of people doing is tipping it straight into the bucket dry, spodding out of it, putting the lid on, clipping the lid on, leaving it out in the sun. When they're going to spod, the sun's dried up the particle inside, and half the bucket of bait that they're spodding out is actually floating, and all you're doing is feeding the ducks. So this is the mix that I'm using. It seems to be working so far, and hopefully the bucket that you can see here now is going to be deposited out in the lake tonight, and fingers crossed there's going to be a few more manor carp on the bank. When it comes to fishing over large beds of bait, and particle and sort of chop boilers in particular, which is a mix that I use all of the time, probably the biggest key is getting your hook bait right. Now what I mean by that is firstly matching it to what you're actually using as best as you possibly can out of there. Now for me, there's only two presentations that I use. First of all, a 360 rig. I'm sure a lot of people would seen me you know, go on about the 360 rig before. It's an absolutely awesome rig. I would use this if I was fishing my bait over a low-lying area of silkweed, purely because I don't want the hook point to be masked, and also when the fish are feeding on the bait, they're going to be knocking the hook down, and the last thing I want to be doing is getting the hook snarled up in the weed, and it's completely hindering my presentation. So that's the 360 rig, and as you see on there, just got a yellow manila pop-up there, which mimics the maize, which is in the mix perfectly. The other two is exactly the same rig, tied exactly the same, bog standard knotless knot rig. Nice big hook. First off, double plastic corn, and on the next one I've got a tiny little whittled down 12mm pop-up and a small sliver of foam on top as well. Now what you will notice with these two rigs that I've got in my hand, and also with the 360 rig, that there is no additional weight added. The weight of the hook counterbalances the weight of the hook bait. Now I think personally that is probably the most important thing, certainly when fishing over particles and chop boilers. You're fishing over small particles, small items of bait, and the fish aren't having to sort of suck as hard, if you like, to get them up off the bottom. Now, if you're fishing something that's anchored to the bottom, the fish come over the baited area, they start having a grub around. Instantly, if there's something that's anchored to the bottom, whether it's a big pop-up anchored with a big split shot or a big bit of tungsten putty, the fish are going to feel that resistance. Now, I have these mad theories that it's like if there was 100 stones on the floor and you pick one up that was attached to a bit of chewing gum, you would feel the resistance in your hand. Now, my theory is that if a fish is doing it out of its mouth in its natural surroundings, it's probably going to be a lot more clued up than what we actually think they're going to be. So they're the presentations that I use over the particle mix, and I would say the biggest key to them is making them critically balanced. So when the fish are coming over, they're grubbing around, there's no real imminent danger that they're picking up something heavier than what's actually out there as your free offerings. And obviously, you know, the law is that the lighter the hook bait, the further the hook's going to go back in the fish's mouth, and therefore it's harder to eject. So they're the two rigs and three hook bait presentations that I would use when I'm fishing over a big bed of bait. Well, it's been a surprisingly quiet afternoon. Nothing else has actually happened. The weather's changed completely. It's gone overcast now, and the wind's done a complete 180 and gone down the other end, which isn't very good, to be totally honest with you. But it's too late in the day to move now. There isn't any pegs available to move into anyway, so I'm going to stay put. So I'm going to get the rods back out now for the evening, or for the night should I say, and I'm not going to put as much out. I'm probably going to put 15 or 20 big spoms out over that. The area that I'm fishing is renowned for doing bites during the hours of darkness, so you know, all I can do is hope that there's a few fish still lingering around. Maybe, you know, if there's not as many fish up here, there's probably a chance of even a better fish, which would be quite nice. Maybe sometimes less is more, but for now I'm going to fire them out, have something to eat, and hopefully the next time I'm awake in front of the camera is because I've got a fish on the end. So let's get them out there. Fine Manor Farm common carp, and the night is still young. Oh, there he is, first one of the night. £29, 3 ounce of hard fighting Manor Farm common carp. This one literally came probably about half an hour to 45 minutes after I stopped spotting. I've absolutely filled it in, and this just proves that they're on it. The rods are back out there, bang on, there's fish crashing all around, and hopefully with a bit of luck this isn't the only one I catch tonight. So I'm going to slip him back, I'm going to get my head down, and hopefully the next time I'm woken up is by the receiver going off. Well, I'm probably looking a little bit fresh. It's I don't know what time of the morning it is. It's not long past sunrise, and I've just had a bite. Really quiet night again, which is a surprise, but I haven't got long of my session left, and this potentially could be the last bite. But I'm into another carp. The weather's turned completely, which, you know, has probably slowed the action down somewhat. The wind swung yesterday about midday. You know, these fish here, they do follow wind. The wind has gone right down the other end of the lake, but it's just one of them things. So yeah, there's always fish lingering around, and this one here proves that. But yeah, not got long of my session left, so potentially, unless I get a couple in quick succession, this could possibly be the last fish of the trip. But I'm going to focus on getting them in. The lead's ejected, so the fish is up and away from the weed. Hopefully I'll have one final Manor mirror to show you, or common. Too bad of a fish, to be fair. Yes, that is quite a nice common as well. Oh, what a result. What a result that is. They're fighting like absolute demons. But that, following on from that last common last night, is another nice looking common. And how about that to end with then? An absolutely scale perfect, immaculate Manor Farm common. £27, 15 ounces. The session has been absolutely unbelievable. Caught plenty of fish, stove plenty of bait in, and this, believe it or not, is the first in quite a number of videos that I'll be doing for the boys at Monster Particles. So if you like what you've seen and you want to see more and keep updated, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified when there's any future content posted up.